lobby and ready to go. We're literally just waiting for that start button to be hit. So very, very soon, game 1 of 3 will be going live. And I do actually see the bans and picks have started. Azubu, Captain Jack Sparrow in the first slot. So he's going to be banning on behalf of Azubu. I'm literally tingling.
Literally tingling with excitement. Oh, the bans are going to come in quick and fast. Malphite and Urgot banned out. You know, Urgot was not banned in the entire first game series. All 3 matches didn't get picked. I was surprised at that, I've got to be honest. We talked about the fact that neither of them really have an Urgot player, but straight away TSM going, you are not having that.
Yeah, we don't want to deal with it. Now, I wonder if Team Solid Mid are going to be thinking about banning out Graves. We know Captain Jack is
a Graves man.
Phenomenally famous for his Graves play and the way they do it. And we do see Nocturne and Shen removed, so the global and the semi-global ultimates removed from the gameplay. I believe that this is the patch before the global nerfs as well.
No, the global nerfs are in.
Was this one? All right, so this is it, because this is, of course, the Jace patch. This is pre-Zyra. And then we do see Rumble and Alistair removed as well. So who is available? Ari is available, as is Graves.
There we go, straight away.
Jack wants his Graves.
Yeah, you can't blame him, and that's expected. And actually, I'm quite excited. It's like when you ban a Nivea out from Flock, and you're like, oh, we're disappointed. But I like that. I like it straight away. TSM though are going to have that choice. What sort of support are they going to run these days? Are they going to go to Sona? Are they going to go Nunu? Are they going to go Janna? You know, I would expect that to come in first, or will they go for a jungler? Will the odd one get his say earlier on? I really don't know which way the could go, because, you know, immediately that's a lot of the OP champions, or classed as OP champions, taken out of the game. And this is what I expected in the first match, actually. I expected Rumble, Alistair, Bans, Urgot, Malphite. I expected them all to be taken out of it. They didn't. Curse threw up a few curveballs. But also, in retrospect to seeing Curse tomorrow, the teams realize that you can leave Urgot open, no need to ban it, because they're not going to pick it.
And take a look at what they do lock in.
Oh, Twisted Fate.
Twisted Fate and Janna. Now, we've already seen an AP teleport Janna, right? AP teleport Janna. I'm not saying that's what we're going to see this time, but it's a potential, right? It has been done already. Remind me, game number 3, did Curse also lock in a Sona in game 3? Because if they did, that means it's 100% loss for Sona thus far. We haven't seen Sona being locked in yet, so if that Janna's going to go support, then, you know, it obviously means it's not going to be the support role. But Maokai and Vladimir, junglers that we're a little bit more used to seeing, and of course Vlad, top lane, so powerful, so strong. Could even go middle, depending on who else is going to get locked in on behalf of Azubu.
And it's aggressive gank as well. You got the Malphite that can dive in there, Twisted advance straight away, could get Reaper diving in as well on that top lane. And we're going to see... Well, you can see Dyrus has already got teleport on his summoner spell, so expect to see some sort of teleport champion. Is it going to be a Jax on that top lane? You know, he's famous for Jax. Hasn't really played it a great deal lately. Has been playing Kayle a lot lately. And talking to Dandin last night, he's basically saying, you know, TSM tend to practice heavily one strat, they'll perfect it and they will use it, but will this be the time to use it? First game is going to be a confidence booster by either team to win.
Yeah, very true. And take a look at this lineup now. You know, we could potentially have this Janna Corki bottom lane, Nunu in the jungle, Twisted Fate middle, and as I was saying in previous games, the red team, the second pick, they do tend to leave that solo top as the last pick to look for a hard counter, look for somebody to guarantee you're going to win. And Ari, the first game we haven't seen a ban.
Banned every game, so far.
Potentially going to be locked in here.
And classed as a very strong champion. A lot of people really rate Ari as the top one, but honestly, to ban him out, you'd have to leave one of the other champions available. And honestly, they are kind of the bans I would expect to see. Taric in that bottom lane to join Captain Jack will be very strong. There's a lot of gank potential down there. You know, R is very maneuverable. Malphite is incredibly good at ganking when it comes to ganking. I expect to see maybe some early ganks as well. The question is, what will TSM go for Dyrus? What is he going to have? Oh, hello. That's not. No, I'm not going for that. They know it's my favorite champion, I think. I'm not having it.
I love Ziggs, but I don't see Ziggs being and this is exactly
that's what I kind of expected.
And of course, Jax can do very, very well against the Vladimir.
Against Vladimir, yes.
You know, the burst is very, very good. Once he eventually gets up to that Cutlass or some form of slow, in addition to the counter strike, he's going to be able to put a lot of DPS down and a lot of damage, and he's going to be able to out-duel Vlad in that top lane. It does need to get locked in though, and it does mean that we'll see Nunu in the jungle, and I'm excited to see that as well, because you know, Nunu jungle after the rework and the modification divisionary makes him
switch to Yorick last minute switch to Yorick on that top lane for Dyrus. So straight away, it could be support Yorick, but I don't think it's going to be. It could be AP top. AP top Janna. You never know. They're going to be doing the switches around there. And anyway, we're going to switch to a commercial, and do not go anywhere, guys, because it's going to be Azubu Blaze versus Team Solo Mid Game 1.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the MLG Summer Arena. This is the first game in the second matchup of the day, featuring two of the most well-known teams in League of Legends. Team Solo Mid facing off against Azubu Blaze. And we do see Azubu Blaze, they're wearing the blue trunks in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. And of course, Team Solo Mid in the red trunks. D-Man, this is going to be one hell of a game.
And are we going to see a level 1 fight? That's the big question. And of course, Graves as well, as noted by Monte Cristo, you know, Graves uses that flash cleanse, so he can be very aggressive. He can get in there. He doesn't fear the ganks that could come from Team Solo Mid. So let's see what happens. It looks like TSM are going to go for an invade. You can see them stacking up in the northern tri-bush at the moment. And Vladimir, the ping's going down. Vlad's going to go towards the turret. They're not really checking. You can see they've put a ward down on the Wraiths at the moment. TSM have not warded anywhere. Actually, it's not a ward. It's a sapling sat there having a good peek. TSM have warded up their own blue. They're at the tri-bush, and it looks like they're going to go for a blue invade. But meanwhile, Maokai is setting out his saplings. So, interesting setup here. So Maokai is not setting up for the usual Wraith saplings.
Yeah.
Instead, they are in a position, and they're both in a position to fight.
Yeah. Both sides, they want to do something, but you can see the trepidation. You can see that.
I think TSM are going to come around and walk straight into that tri-bush.
Well, if it does happen, Azubu's going to say thank you very much.
Yes.
But the other thing that both sides are very afraid of, they've both got very strong low-level, you know, level 1 team fights. Dazzle, Twisted Advance, Charm, Gold Card, Howling Gale. You know, there's a lot of strong CC. And it seems as though, D-Man, maybe you are partially psychic because you predicted the move. And let's see how this plays out. If a sapling goes out...
the way they're going. And the sapling's just gone from that point, which is where TSM have gone into. So now they won't have any vision in there. Azubu Blaze will not know this is happening. They've got no vision. There is a ward. You can see, is that a ward or a sapling just to the side there? It is a ward. There's teleport coming in. TSM are going to go for this one, I think. 155. There we go. Spawn. Oh, Ambition is surely going to walk into it. TSM will get spotted, though. They're going to realize, there you go, Helios is spotted and realize now Ambition is going to back away. Can they steal away the blue buff? They are going to go in. Ambition's being forced away. Helios being forced away as well. Can they get the steal? Yes, they can. The odd one picks it up. Now they're going to go. Captain Jack's going to get caught with that Howling Gale. Lustboy, they've suddenly realized they could go for the gank. The Ignite goes down, but they did not pick it up. But it is a successful invade. The odd one picks up the blue buff and says, thank you very much. Now they just need to protect their own. And it is going to be the AD supports both on the top lane.
And relatively interesting there, if you take a look, Taric burned his flash to get away to safety. No other summoner spells were blown on the side of Azubu, but Twisted Fate, Flash and Ignite down. Chaos, Flash down. So they literally traded 3 summoner spells for 1. And that is pretty big. Twisted Fate, admittedly, you know, he does need a couple of levels before he really becomes a big threat. But not having Flash, not having Ignite, and against a Maokai-Uri combination, the Twisted Advance into Charm, it's practically guaranteed. It's very difficult to mess that combination up. And you're looking at 2 of the best players in the world, so they're not going to miss a point-blank, you know, rooted Charm. So very, very interesting. And the lane swap, it's not something unusual, but you know,
it's almost standard for some Korean teams these days.
Yeah, exactly. Swapping them out, you know, Yorick in the bottom lane, he's going to be able to do pretty well coming up against Vladimir, of course. You know, both champions very good at sustain, both of them got decent damage once they get a couple more levels, but you know, going to be a little bit difficult for Reaper to survive these low-level harass from Yorick.
But it's going to be Helios that's been set so far behind. He's going to really have the trouble to keep it up. He's only picked up the Wolves so far. He's had to go back already. And you can see the Wolves in the race and the pause has come out. So let's have a look. Let's have a see what's going on around the map currently. So down the bottom lane, Dyrus has been pushing pretty heavily on the bottom. He won't be able to look around the map, but Reaper, you can see, is already being harassed. However, he has got that Ignite Ghost available. Meanwhile, the Flash, as you mentioned, was not used by Dyrus. Dyrus just teleported down that bottom, so he's still pretty safe down that bottom. And of course, Helios can't really go for the ganks because that blue buff steal by the Odd One set him so far behind. And Helios is not really in a position to go direct for that blue. He may well try to, but already you can see the Odd One is going to be straight away back around there. He's just picking up the Wraiths. He's already picked up the red, so he's got double buff up there. The question is he going to go for Ari in the mid? And Reginald, you know, super aggressive play with Twisted Fate. He can go and join a fight either top or bottom where you'd expect it. I probably think top lane is going to be the one they're going to be ganking for.
I definitely think that's going to be the case, especially when you consider that, you know, the gold card into a Howling Gale or a Zephyr along those lines is going to be very, very strong. You know, Yorick has got his slow from his Omen of Pestilence, but it's not really going to be enough to guarantee a kill, especially against a Vladimir.
Yes.
You know, Sanguine Pool with, I believe it was Ghost, not Flash, you know, there's a lot of escapability. As soon as that Destiny starts, Ghost, Sanguine, and just get the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah, and we talked about it, well, I talked about it, how possibly cautious play could be, and we've seen the exact opposite. They were both straight aggressive. Azubu, though, not invading. They were more on the defensive, if anything, and had to back out of that fight. They were not prepared for a 5-man TSM invade, which they are, I guess, famous for. Everybody knows they do it these days.
And they did fairly well, though. You know,
yes.
the blue buff, they were pushed off of their own blue buff. They gave it away. Tarek was in a position where he could have potentially gone down, but got the flash off in time before any additional CC. So, you know, some of the spells were blown, but they avoided the potential negative outfall. They didn't give up first blood. Other than losing that buff, nothing else was gained or lost. So, interesting start, this lane switch, and the junglers, and you know, whether or not the ganks are going to come off, because whichever team is going to be able to successfully pull the ganks off is going to start to snowball the game. Nunu is going to be a little bit harder. Ice Blast, it's not a root, it's not a knock-up. It is a slow, it's a powerful slow.
It's a powerful slow, indeed.
But it's not at the same level as a Maokai gank.
But you know what? Who's going to be really busy after this game? It's going to be Dan Analysis Din. He's already been named and tagged on Reddit. They've already given him a name. And you know what? You saw that. It's a lovely little item. It's a massive 17 screen that he's going to be doing the analysis on. And immediately from that very first level 1 fight, there's analysis to be had.
Yeah, exactly. Looking at exactly which combinations of crowd control could have come into effect, because Tarek, I think he got hit by the Zephyr, the Howling Gale, and then a gold card.
Yeah.
And there was a little bit of split focus
and
from
they thought,
TSM.
Can we get him?
Yeah, there was, you know,
the Ignite went on him. They tried to get the gank suddenly.
And a little bit of split focus. So you got to think to yourself, what if all 5 members had flashed forward at the moment the gold card landed? Would they have been able to put enough damage down to kill a level 1 Tarek before he got to flash away or not? You know, all these different questions. Maybe Dan Analysis Din can run the numbers for us. I think it's his new nickname.
That's his official nickname now. I'm not sure. I'm not sure he's probably going to appreciate that one. I can't really see whether he's looking at us or not.
I can
he's
see
hiding
some
behind
hatred,
the screen.
some hatred staring our way. But guys, we do still have a pause, so we're looking through this one at the moment. Take a look at the items. Absolutely everyone goes boots pots, except for the supports. We do see the Fairy Charm and Wards coming out, as opposed to seeing the likes of boots and pots, which is something that we do see, especially when we see the likes of Gosu Pepper playing the likes of either Tarek or Sona from Moscow 5. He tends to open up with boots and plays very, very aggressive in that lane, tries to set up kills, tries to set up ganks.
Just seeing the banter between the chat at the moment. You know, it was just talking about one of the Korean players has got a problem. Dyrus is like, it's no problem. I play small screen. If anyone remembers Dyrus when he first came into the screen, he was like letterbox style, you know, on his laptop, locked camera as well as all sorts. So he's like, it's okay, you know, I'm used to playing like that. But yeah, he's happy. And at the moment, there's a good bit of banter going between the teams, so you know they're feeling relaxed. I feel in their environment. They've both been here since around about 4, maybe 3 p.m. So they're well practiced. They've been sat opposite each other. They were having a good chat. You know, they were sharing Facebook, sharing chat between each other. So they've kind of got a little bit more social. I think these teams have quite enjoyed their interactions here at MLG.
And then, of course, you know, talking about that in terms of the teams and what they're getting up to, they've all been to these lands before. They've attended, faced off against the strongest.
They've been in
players.
the pressure situations.
They've been in these situations and in more intense situations as well. Azubu, in fact, coming up the grand finals of the OGN was it spring, if I recall correctly.
Spring, yeah.
And not even faltering, not even flinching.
Well.
Not even flinching. So both of these teams so well practiced and so well versed. And of course, you guys can actually keep an eye on the player cams as well.
Indeed, if you are just joining us, don't forget there is the 108TP Dr. Pepper stream. There is all sorts of goodness on that one, and you can get on there. You won't have the ad breaks. You'll get to see us in beautiful high def. I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing, but
and all the added benefit. Don't you get the 1 month free for Elo buff as well?
You do indeed get the Elo buff 1 month free, which in itself is a $6 fee if you were just to go straight to Elo buff, which is a great advantage. And it really has got so much stats. If you want to follow these tournaments, if you consider yourself a LOL esports big fan, you'll be following that because you get some crazy stats from that site. We all use it as casters because we have to check, we have to do our research. The players use it. Speaking to CLG EU while we were at Poland last week, and they were like, they're coming up against Elo Hell, who've just qualified for Gamescom. Actually, they managed to grab the 8th spot. If anyone missed that. They were like, we're going to have to research these guys. We don't really know what they play. It's the same with Meet Your Makers as well. They had to check out what champions to ban against them. And, I guess we could say the same for Svenska, that they clearly did the research from Curse Gaming. And they banned out Lee Sin straight away. They knew exactly what they were doing, and this is where they get the detail from.
Yeah, so true. And of course, guys, we are looking at a Team Solomid versus Azubu Blaze. And I just heard, check out solomid.net. Take a look at the players. You can see them all sitting there, waiting patiently while we get Azubu up and running. And we do see a quick reconnect coming in as well. But yeah, check it out. Solomid.net. You can check out the streams, check out the players, and we know that TSM are huge online personalities, massive in League of Legends, and
massively popular on our poll as well.
Exactly. I wonder if we can actually get an update. The last we heard, 78-22 in favor of TSM. So going against the grain all of the professional players.
Against the grain of me and you.
That's it. We've been proven wrong by the poll, but it's results that count.
But it has started very well for Team Solomid. If you're just joining us, we're joining a pause as I think it's Helios is just reconnecting at the moment, so he'll be back in the game shortly. It is Team Solomid versus Azubu Blaze, the Korean champions and the North American champions, I guess you could say. Also, if you missed it, Curse Gaming 3-0 over Black looked incredibly strong early on, and they pulled out many different team comps. They were all sitting pretty relaxed. And ironically, they were talking about Dan's analysis while we were in the big room, and they were talking about how it seemed to highlight all their missed skill shots.
Yeah, exactly. Advertising what they did wrong as opposed to what they did right. And of course, if you guys have joined us and you're not 100% certain, this is a 4-team event, alright? Each team is going to play every other team, and you will play all 3 games. Whoever has the highest win-to-loss ratio at the end of all of the games will then qualify for the grand final. And it's winner takes all. $10,000 on the line.
It is, so we're going to go to a quick break while the players just wait for Helios. He's having some sort of issue, and we'll be back in a few moments, guys. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be TSM versus Azubu Blaze right after this. Yeah, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back from the pause. Let's get into the game because it is back live. It is Azubu Blaze versus Team Solo Mid. And, well, what a game we could have for you guys. We've already seen crazy invades. The question is, when will First Blood come?
Yeah, exactly. And if I recall correctly, there's a little bit of chat and banter between the players going,
yes.
First Blood equals punishment. And the team's not afraid to give each other a little bit of back and forth.
Here we go, mid lane.
Gold card goes out, Ice Blast lands, the red buff is ticking away, they may consider the dive, there comes a Twisted Advance, Charm goes out, now Reginald's the one's in trouble, Ignite's ticking away, First Blood manages to land on Ambition, Ari manages to get all that bonus gold, Arcane Smash knocks Odd One up, if the Charm comes off Cooled One, Odd One may have been in trouble, but he manages to flash away to safety, and they ended up being a counter gank up in the top lane, Howling Gale, Zephyr and the Phosphorus Bomb from Corki put some damage, but Blaze putting themselves on the scoreboard, and Reginald, he's going to have to suffer some form of punishment.
Yeah, Dyrus saying he's going to lose salary for a month, and it was actually Reginald that lost it, so he's going to have to punish himself or something like that. I'm not too sure how that one's going to work out, but it is Azubu picking up First Blood. We know what? The aggression counted, and at the top lane, this is going to really be keeping Optimus Tom, our cameraman, very, very busy because this game could have ganks going anywhere. Of course, Twisted Fate is one of the very hard champions to track. Once that ultimate goes off, you're like, where's he going to go? Quick, check the screens. And really, honestly, you can see the aggression in the top lane, the aggression in the bottom lane here as well. Reaper taking a lot of damage in that bottom lane. Captain Jack getting very aggressive in that top, and honestly, I think Yorick's going to sort of be winning out in the first few levels here because Vladimir struggles until he hits that level 9 stage.
But once Vladimir does get a couple levels under his belt and some additional ability power, he's going to be able to use that Tides of Blood and literally just kill off Yorick's ghouls, spamming that E, gets a couple of points of damage up, and once he gets his Hextech Revolver, he's actually going to gain life off of those as well. Ari has recalled, and at 5 minutes, Sorcerer's Shoes and that single Dawn's Ring completed. So that's going to make Reginald's life very difficult in that middle lane.
Very, very difficult indeed. That's the benefit you need. Once you get that kill, you've got to make it count, and that's what he's done. He's not just hung around and said, oh, I've got a lot of farm, I'm just going to continue. And meanwhile, Reaper really is struggling down that bottom lane, although we can see Helios moving into position. Are they going to go aggressive here? Reaper's trying to bait Dyrus out there, and I think Dyrus realized it, but is he going to be able to get teleport? No, he's not. Twisted Advance goes down. Dyrus has got no mana to get out of this one. Ignite goes down on Dyrus. He's desperately trying to get away from this one. Reaper's going to put the damage down. Surely Dyrus will drop. They're going to have to tower dive. The damage going on towards Helios. It will be Reaper that picks up the kill, and the benefit immediately gained there. Beautiful, beautiful play from Reaper.
And so nicely done. Gets underneath the tower, uses his Tides of Blood at max range, gets just at the border, throws out that last E. As soon as the turret aggro gets pulled onto him, he hits his Sanguine Pool, gets to safety. Up in the top lane now, Captain Jack and Lustboy are the ones falling back. We were talking up all the pressure. We're talking up Captain Jack in the pre-show, and he's the one that seems to be in trouble.
Indeed. Was that Ambition just
chilling?
He just used his ulti there. I mean, absolutely.
I thought it was as well.
Sure it was. Yes, it was. It's on cooldown. It was definitely his ulti that went out there. Reginald trying to land that stun card. Will manage to surely get on towards Ambition. There we go. There's the stun. There's the slow. They do manage to get the ignite down. One more card goes through. But again, Helios is there. Perfect timing. Surely can he get the kill on Odd One? And the Ambition does not want to go for it. And suddenly we get a little bit of lag on the client. That's never so great. That is actually in-game as well. That's not nothing going on with the stream, guys. That was an in-game issue, but no problem. They didn't get the gank. They didn't get the kill. The players will not have felt the effect of that one. It is purely us that get the effects, and I think you can see that was actually the client being paused to try and adjust that, which is why you can see we have had comments, people saying, why are you not running it on live? This is the exact reason why.
Yeah, on the tournament realm, a little bit of a small issue that we are resolving. So if we pause it and we run about 3 seconds, 4 seconds behind live, it reduces the risk of that little lag. But take a look at this right now. The lanes have swapped up. Vladimir's now gone back to the top lane, and we see the AD and supports going back to the bottom. Once they've both hit, ultimate level, Dyrus and Reaper both have their ultimates up now, and swapping back lanes. Almost intuitively, there was, Vladimir, of course, was farming the top lane, so TSM would have seen that and known about it, but I don't understand the thinking. Why would you swap those lanes for the first couple of levels outside of reducing the double golem benefit?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, they obviously want that double golem benefit down the bottom. It's more the dragon benefit now. We're 8 minutes in. Dragon's going to start coming into this one, so they have to get those double lanes back into the bottom layer area. Ambition is going to pick up the blue buff here. Be given across him, and Helios so far has really impressed me. He's got the boots and mobility on Maokai. That's incredible speed, along with that Twisted Advance. He's really going to be motoring when he comes to ganking. And it's something that we see out of Cyanide very, very often. The Dazzle goes out into Chaos, smoke screen down, and a little bit of damage, but
Nothing really to be too worried about. But those boots of mobility on the junglers, I know that Cyanide likes to wear them on both Maokai and on Nautilus. And he plays a very, very aggressive, very, very gank-heavy style of jungle. And, you know, because Maokai doesn't have any skill shots that he needs to land, it's a targeted ability. He needs to get in range in order to land the snare, in order to land the root. So it's a great, great choice. We've already seen him pulling off 2 very good ganks, you know, already at 9 minutes in. So if he can carry on helping as, you know, Azubu farm up, get additional kills, it's only going to play into their favor.
Indeed, and at the moment the bottom lane is very much even between these two. Ari, of course, picking up the kill. 71 CS to 68, so very close between them. And Reginald really hasn't had a chance to go anywhere and gank right now. He's not been able to be aggressive because he's been forced so heavily back by Ari.
And take a look, he's falling a little bit behind in terms of CS. 58 to 69 is not necessarily huge. He has opted to go for the double Dorans. We do see the Radiance comes out from Lustboy. Now he's trying to get away.
Oh,
teleport comes out from Dialysis. Now it's what the destiny from Reginald. Flash into Gold Card. Somehow Captain Jack's going to be able to get away with his life. And Lustboy managed to pull 2 members of TSM away. Or in actual fact, 3 members of TSM away. So he does give up his life. If TSM pick up this dragon, it's actually going to give them the advantage. Not only do they pick up a kill, they may pick up the team, the global 1,000 gold. It is going to be all on Helios. If he can get a good twisted advance and smite, maybe he can steal it. Vengeful Maelstroms out, Absolute Zero starts to get channeled. Spirit Rush, first proc goes out, second proc, they do not manage to steal it. Now all of a sudden Ambition and Helios is in trouble. In the bottom of the screen, you did see the collateral damage coming out. Graves trying to duel Chaos. He's going 1 versus 1. Captain Jack actually coming out ahead in that duel. Ari and Marco trying to get away. Helios is most likely going to go down. 1 more Ice Blast is all that's going to be required, but the odd one doesn't have enough mana. Helios flashes over the wall, gets to safety. They don't manage to seal up. Captain Jack is going to lose his life though, staying a bit too long behind the members of Team Solo mid. And immediately, the Dragon and 2 kills, TSM now pull themselves 1,200 gold in the lead.
Yeah, great turnaround from TSM. We were just saying that split second, Reginald's not being able to get into it. Suddenly, bam, teleport down the bottom, straight away teleport in there, and a beautiful 5-man gank down that bottom lane, turning it into a dragon, and an 8-minute dragon. And just as we said, you know, the bottom lane, they've doubled up back down there, but the top lane may well be the trade-off here. Reaper's trying to finish it off, so it will be a trade-off. It's going to make the gold pretty much even again, so it's still working and very much in the Zuba's favour. It's working out very well for both teams. Pickwood being picked up by Tarek. He's going to be going down the bottom lane to try and get control of that one. But we're seeing Ari going with the double Doran's ring and that Sorcerer's Boots he had very early on, still being very aggressive. And look at the damage done on that turret already in the mid.
Yeah, for Azubu, not afraid to push, not afraid to shove these lanes out. And it's just their playstyle. You know, they like to go very, very aggressive. The odd one laugh. Who is surprised by that? But the Korean playstyle of very, very early aggression and going for those early objectives. You take League of Legends competitively about 2, 3, 4 months ago, and 10, 12, 14-minute dragons was about the standard, you know, 12 to 14. Now all of a sudden you're looking 6, 8, 10 minutes, cutting it in half, getting 5 members of Team Solo Mid pushing in that middle lane, pushing the bottom lane rather, and then forcing a dragon out of it. But look at that, even with the Drake, Blazer only 100 gold behind, compliments of that early tower, and a second tower is going to fall very, very short.
Second one almost certainly going to fall. Meanwhile, down the bottom there, I'm going to catch on towards Captain Jack. Surely going to take a lot of damage. Exhaust has to go down on KX there. He's going to be caught in the smoke screen. I don't think he's going to be able to finish with a swan off unless he goes Valkyrie aggressive. Does manage to get the kill. The stun card, surely can that come out on towards Lustboy? It will, just as he gets into those. The Tribers, the Howling Gale, not quite catching on. Helios coming around the back. It's still a 3-on-2 situation. Helios is going to go aggressive. Here comes Nunu though. It's a 4-on-2. Can they catch on towards Helios? Helios does not want to go down, but he's going to get dropped. Beautiful, Absolute Zero. Now Ari comes down. Wow, everything is going off. Can they dive on towards X-Special? X-Special backs away. Reginald goes aggressive, a little too deep, and he will get caught out there. And Bishop picks up the kill. Then Janna goes down as well. Great turnaround from Azubu from a really lost situation, a 4-on-2 situation in that bottom lane. They turned it down purely by the fact that Ambition got involved.
Yeah, ended up turning around, so that was a 2-for-2 exchange, and they're most likely going to get this tower as well. Middle lane tower went down while all of that was going on. So, you know, they forced down 3 towers before 12 minutes. We've got 8 kills on the board, and it's been non-stop action. Azubu are not afraid to push, but TSM are holding their own.
3 turrets.
Yeah, 3 turrets down already, and, you know, TSM, they've been on the receiving end of a lot of aggression and a lot of pushing power and a lot of ganks, but they're coming out even. They're keeping up with gold. They're keeping up with kills. And as soon as they pick up 1 or 2 more turrets, they're going to be bang on even. It's going to come down to which of these teams is better in these big team fights. Which of these teams can use their champions and their composition in the correct manner to win a fight.
So we've just seen the Doran's Ring sold by Ari and actually gone towards that Abyssal Scepter. So got the Abyssal Scepter in pretty early on. 14 minutes in, 4-0 though for Chaos. That's a good score for your AD carry.
And that's an interesting thing that you point out. I've casted fairly often with one of Monte Cristo's buddies, Zotair, and every time we'll take a look at that transfusion, Tides of Blood's going to go out, Reaper is going to carry on chasing, second transfusion goes out, it's going to carry on going down, Hemoplague is available, but Ignite is not. There goes the Hemoplague, the tick may actually be able to do enough, 270 hit points, going to drop into 115. Now all of a sudden Vlad's the one that needs to try and get away, Howling Gale knocks him up, Zephyr goes down, Tides of Blood still ticking, Sanguine Pool is on cooldown, and it is a fairly high cooldown, so he's going to be able to pull back. But take a look at that, 4 members of Azubu now pushing down this middle tower, and it's objectives that count, not kills.
Indeed it is, and the aggression seems to be backfiring. Vladimir actually staying in that bottom lane to keep them occupied, and they've just gone, wow, we've just lost that inner turret out of nothing, purely trying to defend Chaos down that bottom lane, and they're going to invade now. Can they steal away the blue buff? Everything else is coming up. They've got a great push on the bottom lane, and the objectives are really being pushed here. Azubu now going for their second inner turret. The aggression, the speed of this on 15 minutes. Can they get another one off? If that charm would have landed, I think it would have definitely gone in Azubu's favour. But instead, TSM have now got themselves in the position. Yorik's just teleported back. Now he's back down the bottom. They realise there is a 5-man push from Azubu very early on. They're not sticking around. They don't want to farm it up. Odd1 caught out. Heavy burst on Odd1 there, and he's forced to back away. And Azubu, I think, are possibly going to give up on this one. They're sticking around, though. There is, I think that's a siege minion line coming up on the next wave.
And you know what we're watching now? This is negative CLG. CLG tend to sit back and farm and camp.
This full reversal. Oh, they're diving towards the Tribush. They're going straight towards Chaos. The exhaust goes down, just about saved by the ulti from Janna there. And Reginald got aggressive on the back of that. Thought he was going to get the kills, and suddenly thinks, I've gone too deep, I'm in the wrong situation here. Can they catch on towards Chaos? Chaos very low. The ulti from Ambition manages to get the kill on him. That is the main AD carry, and really the main Fed player from Team Solo Mid. The man has picked up all the kills. Azubu now going to pick up their second inner turret. 5-0 in turrets. Azubu are really punishing TSM here.
15 minutes in, and they're already pushing the inhibitor turrets. It's been a non-stop lane aggressive push from Azubu. They are bringing this push style. Zerg rush, go all in, throw everything into it, and it's working. Team Solo Mid, they don't really have a turtle composition. They've got pretty good wave clear. Howling Gale, the wild cards, and of course the phosphorus bomb rockets from Corki are going to be very good. But the 5-man Azubu is just pushing down towers too quickly, and they're going to be able to tank up the damage. The Shatter from Tarek's going to give them, additional armor, so it's going to reduce the damage. You've got Vengeful Maelstrom that's going to reduce the damage. I really like how Azubu are playing this, and if TSM cannot slow them down, they're just going to get pushed into a loss.
They're going to be in their base shortly. A Trinity Force there picked up by Corki. Absolutely no hit points though. He's had to go pure Trinity Force. I didn't see whether he sold some Doran's Blades before that. Meanwhile, Bloodthirster pretty much ready to complete by Captain Jack. I would suspect he's got the money. It's a case of whether he goes for it. Look at see that X special just being forced away there. I think he just wanted to get a ward placement down, and they're pinging down. They're saying, let's go for it. That is a ping directly on the middle inhibitor turret, and they're saying, let's stack for this one. Question is, are Azubu going to go for it? They're going up towards the top lane. They realize Reginald's there. They've got a double wave coming in towards that top turret. I think they may go for it. Oh, look at that. They just placed that ward. Very much nearly got in the faces of TSM. And here we go, double wave coming in towards the top lane. Reginald's trying to clear it down as fast as he can.
Does a very good job at it. I mean, that wave really got melted very quickly from the ability power that he already has on board. But even with a 5-tower advantage, there's only 2,000 gold. Look at that charm and Orbo Deception. Dyrus loses half of his hit points. Eye the Storm comes up, but it's a little bit too late. But there's only 2k in it. And you consider 5 towers is the equivalent of what, about 4,500 gold in total?
Well, I think the analysis section might be very long because there is so much to talk about in this game right now. It is already only, just coming up to 18 minutes gone, and it is building up very quickly. Ambition continues to try and push that mid lane. He can get up to that top, but you can see Reginald's had to be forced down there, but Reginald can ulti across and join the fight, turn into a 5v4. Ari now going up towards that top. The ping goes down, and I think TSM may give up on this turret. They're trying to fight for it, though. They can't go pushed completely into their base. They do not want to have to be in that turtle situation the CLG found themselves in against Moscow 5. Stun card picked up by Reginald. He thought about going for it on Ambition there, but had to back away. Just throws out them wildcards to keep it away. At the moment, though, in terms of builds, you can see Manamune only just completed looking towards Reginald. Reginald's got that needlessly large rod along with the double door, and so that's just about how he's keeping them waves at bay. And Wildcards are doing enough damage with that needlessly large rod to keep them at bay. But Azubu, you can see, camping out that blue buff, and they're not letting TSM have anything from this.
An extremely impressive farm and Ambition. With all of this pressure, with all of this aggression in every single lane, Ambition has 149 CS, 3 kills and 1 assist. In comparison, 0-2-1 Reginald with 114 creeps.
He's going to dive
That's
on
a
Ambition,
big
surely
noticeable
mid.
difference.
Is he going to go for it now? Reginald using that ulti. I thought he was going to go for it in Ambition. Now, Ambition was on his own, so it was possible he could have gone for that one. Instead, they choose not to go for the kill. He'd have found himself in a one-on-one situation for a little bit too long. And like you say, that Charm and the Orb would have definitely done a hell of a lot of damage before the rest of his team joined him.
And look at the item difference between the two of them. Reginald, of course, double Dorans and the needlessly large rod, but he's facing off against an Abyssal Scepter Ari. So she's going to have the magic resist additionally to the magic resist debuff.
Burst.
And even if, you know, Reginald did go in there with Destiny and landed the gold card and the rest of TSM got in there, as soon as that Destiny little icon appears on the floor, those cards, you're going to be able to just Spirit Rush 3 times and get out of range of a gold card. So I think it was the right decision from Reginald. It kind of sucks that the cooldown is blown, but they've slowed Azubu down, and if they can start to pick up towers to balance out that tower score, it's going to actually give them a fairly significant gold lead.
Indeed. In terms of builds, it's not even a cheese strat either from Azubu. They've just played it well.
Yep.
They've simply just played it well, and they made the ganks count. And it was actually TSM's own aggression that kind of backfired on them, because every time Azubu pulled out a double kill after losing 2 kills, so they managed to get themselves back in there. Ambition just happened to be in the right place at the right time. Helios was always there as well, and here they go. They're trying to cut off the back of this one, and this time I think Azubu are going to take this inner turret. You can see Captain Jack is already on it. The rest of the team come fold around it. Look at the odd one being aggressive with that Oracle on as well. He's got to be careful. They could easily turn in this one. Oh, X-Special's been caught out. X-Special's going to get burned out. Manages to get ulti off. Not quite enough to save him though. Ambition getting away with absolutely no help there. Valkyrie meanwhile up towards Chaos. They have to try to get away. He's got to use the flash as well. They do pick up 1 kill on that one. Reaper though turns around. The odd one goes down with that Oracle down as well. And it's now 7-5. 2-1 advantage for Azubu Blaze again. Ambition very low health though, nearly got taken down by Chaos but couldn't quite finish it off.
And Reaper, 2 ingredients out of that Zhonya's Hourglass. He just needs to pick up the recipe. So, you know, about 1,000 on gold. And he's going to be able to have that 2 seconds of non-targetable invulnerability. It's already difficult enough to try and kill a Vladimir. Give him an Hourglass, it makes life even more difficult. Take a look at the items really quickly. Graves, Bloodthirster completed, has had that for quite a while. Is saving up for something. Not quite sure how much gold he has in the bank. We'll check that out in just a second. 1,000 up, so maybe saving towards that Zeal. Vladimir is going to need about 1,000 gold as well to finish off that Zhonya's Hourglass. Has the Will of the Ancients, and of course Abyssal Scepter on Ambition's Ari is obviously going to be benefiting the team as well. And then of course Trinity Force completed on Corki. He's working towards his next big item. I believe it's a BF sword that you picked up recently. No, just the Vamp Scepter, and sitting on some gold. So, you know, starting to get to that point where builds are now really starting to form, and already 6-0 in terms of towers, forced all the way back to the inhibitor towers. Our Team Solar mid, they're not going to be able to use the pushing power of Reginald's Twisted Fate because they're on the back foot the entire time.
That's it, and that's the negative side of having Twisted Fate now. You wanted to be there, split pushing, being aggressive in the lane phase, and he's just missed the opportunity. Managed to make it count once down the bottom where they got the double kill, lost 2, but they picked up the dragon off the back of it, and it was kind of working for them. But Azubu have just been right. You know what? We're not going to sit back. We're not going to take it. We're going to get in your faces. We're going to continue being aggressive. And they've just worked very well on them. And I know whether it's caught TSM on the back foot, I'm pretty sure they expected this. I'm pretty sure they were ready and waiting for it. But Chaos at 5-1-0 could still be the saving grace. He's got that BF sword. Nearly the Bloodthirster completed now to go with that Trinity Force. He's looking very strong in compared to, say, Captain Jack, who does have the Zeal and the Bloodthirster. So he has the farm. He just doesn't have the kills to go with it.
And of course, if it does come down to a straight up duel 1v1, assuming Chaos is able to survive the burst of the Buckshot and the Collateral, Corki should be able to out-duel a Graves. You know, in a straight up
get the armor penetration in there,
exactly.
Get the ultis,
Gatling,
get a big bomb on them.
Exactly. As long as he's landing those skill shots, you know, he's got the item advantage effectively with the Triforce and now the Bloodthirster potentially being finished very, very shortly. It is looking... There are things to be happy about for Team Solar Mid, but you know, they were keeping the gold completely even at 5 tower difference. Now all of a sudden at 6 towers, they find themselves 3k behind. And if Corki goes down in a fight, there's no one else for Team Solar Mid to really deal the damage they need to win a fight. When you consider Reginald still hasn't even finished his Rabadon's death cap, which he's building towards.
Yeah, and of course, you know, the big difference has been they've got to keep Corki out of this fight, so I'm getting attacked by a fly in the studio. Where did that come from? Just suddenly trying to get in my face. Meanwhile, Dyrus has been farming it well. He's been pretty quiet in this game, kept out of it, got that Man Immune earlier on, Spirit Visage on there as well, along with the Merc Treads. He could be a problem in the fight, because they're not going to really target on Dyrus, and they're not going to be able to burst him down either. He's just going to be able to sustain himself, cause himself a problem, and try and keep them off KX essentially as he goes. Meanwhile, obviously, Janna's going to be putting that shield on Corki as well, so Corki is really going to have a lot of damage. The question is, can he get it down on the right person? Will it be going for it? And we have a two-man Baron currently going on here. TSM are not ready for this. Dyrus down the bottom, he has got teleport, so he can join the party anytime. There goes the ward. They managed to get that down. This damn fly is going to be the death of me. I'm going to swallow it eventually, I think. And there's Zubu going for this Baron. They have got the Maokai ulti down, so they're going to work for it. You can see X Special puts the ward down again. Realizes it still happened. Dyrus continuing to push that bottom lane. Can teleport anytime TSM start this fight off, which might eventually happen. There's the odd one. Managed to get the absolute zero down. Helios is surely going to drop down. He's got the Ignite ticking on him. He would just about to get away. The Vladimir ulti landing as well. Chaos is taken down though. And now Zubu have to turn the damage onto him. Chaos just about surviving in the back there. Is that? Yes, it was. It was the ultimate they used. I thought Chaos died. I don't know where the hell I saw that one from. 8-5 though, and Zubu forced to back away from that one. No one taking advantage from that one. And Dyrus had to teleport in, and obviously got dropped straight away. But I think they could pick up the mid turret off the back of this one, unless Zubu, no, they are not letting them have it.
And it cost him Dyrus' life and the teleport cooldown as well. They did prevent the Baron buff going down, but they weren't able to capitalize or convert it into anything else at all. No tower getting killed. Vladimir got so close to going down, but Reaper managed to get a really nice timing on that Zhonya's hourglass, keep himself alive, managed to prevent giving up any additional kills. And technically, Azubu came out ahead in that situation. You know, they get a kill, they get the cooldown on that teleport, which I think is around 4 or so minutes. It's a really high cooldown, and now Dyrus is going to be less mobile and less able to split push and control these lanes.
Yeah, and of course they just lost the blue buff on the back of it. Reginald was sat there and realized that he's going to have to back up on this one. So Zubu counteracting TSM every step of the way so far. But, you know, Chaos managed to get in there, nearly picked up the kill, had to pick up the elixir as well. He's gone. That's interesting. He's had to force that, so he's effectively going to save that as a heal. That's what he's doing at the moment. He's going to keep that in his pocket as a heal.
Yeah, just get that burst of health. But take a look at Reginald. I mean, we've been pointing out a couple of times, but still has not completed a single major item. Has the Needlessly Large Rod, has that blasting one on hand. His lane counterparts, the Rabadon's Death Cap, the Abyssal Scepter, and the Chain Vest, still sitting on that single Doran's Ring. I tried to say it a little bit earlier, but we've seen that Ambition actually sold the Doran's Ring to pick up the Abyssal Scepter, and it's something that Zotair points out very often when he and I cast together, that if as a player in the game at an earlier stage you can get a big item, complete something, get that buff, get that bonus, get that stat, it pays off to actually sell something. Yeah, technically you lose a bit of money earlier than anticipated, but you can see how well Ambition has been doing. 403, 213 CS in comparison to 022, 153 CS, with Twisted Fate, who's meant to be a roaming Destiny using ganker, not using Destiny because you don't know what Azubu is doing.
Yeah, and you can see there's Fortitude pots. Now Yorik's got one as well, so Dyrus is also saving it for that extra heal. Phantom Dancer has been completed by Captain Jack. While this all happens in the game, they are starting off the Baron. They are trying to bait TSM into a fight. They want it. And they're quite happy tanking it with Helios there. Again, they put the wall down. Helios will clear it out. Not really baiting anyone into anything. They're continuing. It's down to below half health now. They're going to have to go for this one. So TSM, here we go. The aggression comes out. The Baron picked up though by Azubu. Perfect timing. Collateral damage blasted across them. Odd one, he's going to drop there. Chaos goes down very quickly. And now TSM have lost a lot of that damage. Sorry, Chaos. It was the ultimate, sorry, on Chaos there. It's throwing me every time. That damn Yorick ulti. Do manage to throw it in there, but Odd One got dropped very quickly, and now we have a Baron up Azubu, and damn you, Dyrus, for using that Yorick ulti.
That Omen of Death is just too strong, and look at this. Phantom Dancer completed with Graves. He has had that Bloodthirster for quite a while. How many stacks is that actually up to at the moment? We'll double check that, but now they're going to try force down this inhibitor, max stacks on Captain Jax's Graves. Even though he's 0-2-4, the buckshot damage goes across. Charm just manages to miss, and a 5-mana Zubu, they want this tower. It's going down relatively quickly once everybody starts to focus it, tanking up a couple of hits. Now that the tower's down, they may think about the inhibits, and you can see the call coming out. No, back. We've got the tower. We can dive in there whenever we want to.
Yeah, they didn't want to get greedy from that one, and it was a wise call. You know, I think TSM may well have fought for it. They did want to lose that inhibitor, and you can see Azubu were like, we've got a lot of gold. If we check out the gold, you can see they're probably sat on some pretty healthy stacks there. They are backing up. There you go, 1,800 on Vladimir. Oh, wow, there's some big items going to come out from these guys as well. Just look at the gold difference between the lanes. Ari is way ahead. Meanwhile, look at that, 10,800 to 6,600 on Reginald. That is huge.
Massive difference. You consider all of the items that you can buy for that difference in gold. 7,000 gold separates these teams, but you know it's concentrated gold that counts, and those numbers are very scary. TSM, they do get a small point back. They picked up this Drake now. I think it's been sort of two Drakes to 2, or you know,
it's about even, yeah.
It's about even in terms of Drakes, but 7 towers. Team Solo Mid, after 30 minutes, have not taken a single Korean tower.
Yeah, 5-0-3 is why Ari is so far ahead. Interesting also to spot the boots mobility on Tarek that he picked up earlier. So really, 2 very aggressive support and a jungler. And he wants to get in there, get that stun down. And he's also gone for a Soul Shroud as well.
That's exactly what I was about to point out. Take a look at that item. You know, gives everybody additional cooldown reduction as well as mana regen. And when you consider that almost every champion on the Azubu lineup is sort of a caster in addition to what they do. You know, Graves, for example, he is an attack damage carry, but he's a casting carry, much like Corki. He relies on his abilities to do really well. And that Soul Shroud is going to give him an additional 10% cooldown reduction. So it's an underused item, and it's really great to see it actually being picked up. Captain Jack forced to use that quick draw to get away from the ghosts of Dyrus.
They want to fight. Vlad just popped Brilliance and Fortitude pot. He had them in his bag, and he's just used them both, so they really want to fight for this one now. I think they're going to push, possibly for the inhibitor. Yeah, they're going to go for the inhibitor in a 4v5. And then they're going to force that bottom turret out. You can see Vladimir now making his way up here. So Azubu ready to go for this fight. You can see Captain Jack just burning down that inhibitor. The inhibitor will drop. There's a big stack on the bottom wave as well. Will they rotate round? Instead they're going to go towards the top and back away from this one. They realize that TSM are going to clear that wave stack. And Azubu just back away. They picked up an inhibitor. And you know, they're being cautious actually towards the end here.
They're playing smart. It's like we said earlier today. It's League of Legends by the numbers. You know, they're pushing the lanes down, they're getting the inhibitor and they're falling back. They're taking the advantages where they can without putting themselves in a risky position. They were poking that inhibitor, poking, almost feeling TSM out, teasing them, testing the waters and saying, right, well, let's put 1 or 2 attacks down, see what happens. And when they realized TSM weren't going to commit to a fight, they threw up the Vengeful Maelstrom and went, you know what, we don't think you're going to do anything, but if you do, the Vengeful from Maokai is going to reduce the damage, so we're fairly confident that we can get the inhibitor and back away. And at the end of it, TSM effectively gave up that inhibitor for nothing. And we actually see Captain Jack taking his own blue buff, because we did see Ambition actually stealing away the TSM's blue a minute or 2 ago.
Yeah, and TSM's still yet to pick up a turret. It's getting close to picking up a turret, really. 7-0 down in turrets, which is a huge difference. It's why you're seeing that big difference in gold. Of course, the 4 kills. And, you know, the Baron as well is going to help out there. But the Baron buff is wore off now, which is why Azubu are starting to take it carefully. They're still not 100% they can take this team fight, I think. This is why they're still being very cautious. They want to take the team fight they want to fight in the right place. I'm not sure if they're going to dive this turret. I'm not too sure whether they're going to go for it too aggressively. You can see Lustboy just warding up, getting good vision on TSM in their own base. TSM without an Oracle, I believe, at the moment, so they won't be able to see that one. And Azubu now starting to force the fight. They've got good vision, and they just need to buy time for Captain Jack to get shots on towards that turret. You can see it's already down by a third. It's waiting for the next wave to conga line its way up there, and they will start moving in there. But honestly, TSM can wipe these waves out pretty quick. We saw it with Reginald earlier on. Their wildcards just flashed through. They have got super minions coming in. They're going to dive for it. They've got the charm across there. Dyrus seems to be the target. Dyrus is going to use his ultimate on himself. His X-Special just about surviving long enough to keep him alive, but he will get dropped there. X-Special being ripped apart by Reaper. They will go onto it. Reaper using the great Zhonya's hourglass there. He will get dropped though. Chaos still alive in that back end, and Azubu actually losing out to a double kill now. Chaos going to go aggressive. Can he get another one here? Ambition taken out very low. Great triple kill there. Chaos, could he turn things around? The odd one's going to get the slowdown on Lustboy. Now Chaos is going to move in. Can he get a quadra? He moves around there. The odd one picks it up, and that was a great turnaround from TSM there, managed to pull it back to a 10-9 situation, but still just about defending that turret. That turret took a lot of damage. Look at that, shredded down to nothingness. That will not regenerate, and a great fight for TSM though.
And I'd love to see Darius coming back and teleporting either to top or bottom lane. I've just taken a look at the HP on those towers. Top tower for Azubu is sitting around 200 odd hit points, 290 something hit points. Bottom towers are around 800 or so. They're not too far behind in terms of gold. It may feel very, very scary for TSM because they've got, you know, an exposed inhibitor in that middle lane. They've been on the back foot for the better actually, they've been on the back foot the entire game. Let's not kid around here. You know, they've been defending from Azubu's pushes and Azubu's aggression, but they need to get some gold, and blowing a cooldown, maybe Destiny or maybe even a teleport to shove a lane out, kill 1 or 2 creep waves and let it naturally push in your favor. Get that additional, what's 150 gold per player. It can only play into their favor. We do see that the death cap has finally been finished for Reginald. That Spirit Visage has been sitting with Darius as Yorick for a little while, and what appears to be a Warmogs, if I look at that Ruby Crystal, the regrowth, and the Giant's Belt, so
Bam.
He's moving towards them. There you go, Warmogs has just been picked up. Gold difference, 11,000 to 8,700 for our top laners. Mid laners, 12,300 to 8,300.
Big difference.
4,000 gold difference between them right now. Already 613, and
Barons just spawned.
Yep, 80 odd CS ahead. It is a huge difference, but TSM are not out of it yet.
They are not. It's 10-9 in kills. They're going to feel pretty confident. 8-1-1 Chaos. So really doing a great job on that AD carry. He's been fed up very nicely and really kept himself alive very well in that last fight. And they're just... They feel they can fight for this one. They're feeling they can fight in the open. I don't know whether TSM are going to back away from the fight. They don't want to go too aggressive. Remember, you know, Ambition, if once he throws everything out there, he's on cooldowns.
Yeah.
So maybe they can try and get on him.
Much like
Reaper
as well. Much like Reaper as well. Once Vlad throws everything out, it's a couple of seconds between you can do anything again. And if you've got, you know, if you've got a Chaos and a Ghost of Chaos attacking at the same time, that's a lot of chaos throwing around. You know?
Yeah, and that's been part of the fight. They're effectively making it a 6v5, which has caught me out a few times. Not only the teams, they have to use those abilities up to get rid of that. You do not want a second AD carry Armor Corki attacking you. You know, as it is, it's been kind of thrown in their faces. Here comes the teleport from Darius, and it was just a little bit too telegraphed, I feel. They kind of knew it was coming. They'd got that ward in that bush, and they knew it was happening. Wildcard's going across, and again, Lustboy with that Oracle is clearing things out. Still no Oracle for TSM, so they can't clear out those wards around Baron.
And Reginald has blown his Destiny as well, so just as Azubu started that Baron buff, Reginald threw out the Destiny, was considering going in, and after the Darius had used his teleport,
look at that wave of bottom.
You know, it already cancelled out.
That bottom wave is going to take the turret.
That's going to go down, and the top lane is pushing pretty naturally as well. So now, you know, Azubu is saying, well, look, our creeps are going to start bashing away your inhibitor. You're forced to either go back and defend, as well as damage on the top lane. There's cannon creep there as well, and Azubu are just going to try take this Baron down again. So committing to it. Take a look there on the river. You can see TSM coming in, and Azubu, they never stay longer than they need to. They never outstay their welcome. They're very, very smart with how they play. They know when to play aggressive, and they know it's not the safest to go for a full Baron now, so let's fall back instead. And Inhibitor's going to go down completely for free. That's 2 cannon minions. 2 cannon minions.
That's a big creep wave.
And that's going to carry on pushing onto the Nexus tower as well. If TSM don't do something about that, they may potentially lose that tower as well.
And they are going to go for this fight on Baron, and Azubu again peel off. Perfect timing. Shirelli's reused. They're going to go for the fight. Reaper gets in there. You can see Lustboy also taking out very low, but he's not going to worry about that. Azubu just completely flashing out there. Darius is surely going to get caught out. That's going to be his ultimate down. And he's just about to survive this one. You can see everyone's very low, and health can turn either way, but Azubu seems to be picking up the kills. His special's now in the way. Chaos is going to have to get away from this one. Captain Jack is tracking him down. Meanwhile, X Special's going to get caught out. The Charger's missing. One single shot from Captain Jack will finish it off. And that was a 3-for-2 exchange. A very, very close exchange. Helios taken out very low. But again, that minion wave, how much damage did it do to the turret? While it was all happening, Reginald flashing out. Chaos is going to try and finish this off. He's got to be careful. Captain Jack continuing on. One more shot will be enough. Can they turn the stun card around? And Chaos comes in there. The big bomb comes on his face. Beautifully nicely done by Chaos. Saved that big bomb ready and waiting. What a great little team fight.
So nicely done. I was looking at the damage numbers from Captain Jack. 468, 489 criticals, following after one another, sitting with that Phantom Dancer and the Last Whisper, chowing through the armor of Reginald. He threw out that smoke grenade, the smoke stream, managed to slow Reginald down, but Reginald put enough distance between himself and Captain Jack to pick that gold card, locked him in place, and Corki Chaos just said, thank you very much, I'll hit double digits, I'll gladly remove Captain Jack from this one. And if you look at the itemization, Bloodthirster, Last Whisper, Trinity Force, Quicksilver Sash, and a BF Sword, that Corki is beyond terrifying.
Yeah, he's definitely doing a lot of damage, and you know, with the ultimate from Yorick as well, it's stacking him up very nicely. And the question is, can he stay alive long enough? They're going to go on towards Reaper there. Chaos is just keeping himself very nicely back, and look at the shred going down on Reaper there. Here comes Reginald going aggressive. Zhonya's hourglass weren't used, but it was actually Helios he stunned there because they already realized it. Meanwhile, what's going on down the bottom there? Chaos picks up another kill. They are diving towards Helios. Helios looking now very low, and it is now 14-13. The kill's actually in the favorite TSM, and they're now going to go for Baron. Could we see an epic comeback from TSM here? They've only got one turret to 8. They've only got one in there, two inhibitors still standing. One's exposed, but TSM are on the ascendancy.
And, you know, they lost that inhibitor around about, what, 24, 25 minutes into the game. They've had that exposed inhibitor. The creeps push down the bottom inhibitor as well. I'm going to be lying about the numbers, but I seem to remember reading somewhere on Elo Buff or something similar. Azuka's going to pick up Dragon while Baron's going down. That 73% of games that lose 2 inhibitors, it result in a loss for the team that lost that. Are TSM one of the 73%, or are they going to prove that
They're
wrong?
going to be the 27.
They're going to be the 27. You know what? We don't care. We have Chaos, and we have the Ghost of Chaos, complements of that Omen of Death, and that's all we need. Azubu need to shut down Corki in these team fights, or they may not win another team fight.
And he's just picked up a stack of farm from the wave there. He's picked up 2 kills. Chaos must be sat on quite a lot of gold, I think, after that, with that BF sword as well. If we just have a look at the gold stack on Chaos, and hopefully we'll get a glimpse of that in a moment, but Tom's not listening to me, so he's refusing to go to the gold. And then hopefully we'll see that he is going to be able to pick up a pretty big item. He really doesn't care, because Reginald's going aggressive in towards that middle. Helios is the target. He has got an Oracle's on. He's going to surely walk away from this one. There he goes. Chaos just shredding him down. Look how quick. As soon as Chaos got involved in that fight, his hit points just melted.
And Chaos actually flashing forward there, trying to get a bit more aggressive, hoping for a lucky Phage proc on that Trinity Force. But unfortunately, nobody was in range, and of course the smoke screen wasn't there to help out either. But in terms of the gold numbers, 16,500 gold. Charm lands onto the odd one, immediately followed up with an Orbit Deception. Collateral damage goes across, manages to hit 2 members of TSM, but didn't really deal enough damage. And Spirit Rush is still available for Ambition. We do see that Reaper is completely locked up. Gold card to his face, takes so much damage. There goes the first proc of Spirit Rush. Second one, defensively putting some distance between Ambition and the rest of Team Solo mid. Chaos is just mincing Reaper. Auto attack after auto attack. Orbit Deception goes through the wall, doesn't manage to connect with anybody, unfortunately, and Chaos is just poking away Missile Barrage from range, landing as much damage as he can. And is this going to be an inhibitor for Team Solo mid? They actually decide to fall back instead, because a Nexus turret is down. Super Minions are pushing. This is one hell of a game. 42 minutes into it. Team Solo Mid have now hit the point where they can not only win team fights, but do it in style. But the map and the team, the map and the lanes are just not playing in their favor at all.
It's completely against them in terms of how much they're being pushed. And this is open from that big minion wave that took down the turret, took down the inhibitor. And now the Nexus turret's gone. They do not grow back, I'm afraid.
And there's your gold numbers, D-Man.
There is the gold numbers, and you can see 17,000. He's sitting on 2,200 gold there, Chaos. So he has a lot of gold stacked up right now. And look at that. Look at the difference between him and Captain Jack Sparrow. 13,000 to 17,000 is that 4k gold difference. And that's going to turn into a big chunky item once he just bought. Let's have a look at the items to see what he's just picked up. And eventually we'll get that. And there you go. It is an Infinity Edge. I thought it might well be. And that is now an incredible amount of damage on KX. If he can stay alive, and his position has been fantastic. He's 11-1-4. And don't forget, this is 2 KXs we're fighting here.
Yep, correct. 419 attack damage with that Baron buff still active, and a 50% crit chance. I think it was 48, but we'll round it up for the sake of numbers and ease of use. But 250% damage on that crit. No, we'll go 40% rather. That is huge, huge numbers. He is going to be mincing everybody. We see that Yorick is moving towards that Randian's Omen as well. Warden's Mail has been picked up as well as that Heart of Gold is sitting there. So, going to start getting a little bit more utility and some more itemization. Aria's actually opted to pick up an Athene's Unholy Grail. It's a good choice. It mitigates all of the magic damage that's going to be coming out, but it's not the most common of item pickups you see on Ari's.
Yeah, and obviously Reginald's starting to get involved in it as well now. He's got that Void Staff along with that Rabadon he had earlier on. He's starting to starting to build the items sort of slowly but surely, and he's been the one that's been the aggressor, as you would expect. He's been getting in there. It's actually Helios he's cut out a few times, and looks like TSM are on the push here. The Dragon is available in around about 2 minutes' time. The question is, will they catch out Azubu? Will anyone walk into this trap they've set up? Don't think they will. They're going to have to deal with these super minions again, pushing on this bottom lane. And it's just a matter of time. The inhibitor has spawned, so they just need to protect that open inhibitor. Once that's the last creep wave, the last super creep wave that's going to come at them, they can start being a bit more aggressive.
Now, it's interesting when you look at these compositions, because Azubu were in the driving seat for the first 20, 30, 35
so much
minutes of the game.
In this game. It's crazy.
They were so strong and in a position where TSM simply had no reply. Now, all of a sudden, TSM's hit a point where they're not being blown up with the damage. They're not, even if they get caught out, it's not the end of the world, and they're able to take out Azubu with some ease with how fed Corki is. But the map isn't in their favor. We do see a huge engagement. Charm goes out. Dyrus has dropped to half health before the fight has really even begun. He needs to be very, very careful. And of course, they don't want to be focusing Dyrus. That's not the danger man. They need to get Corki down, and then they need to get the ghost of Corki down, and that's where the scary problem comes from. Missile Barrage goes out, and once again, Vengeful Maelstrom's actually up from Maokai, so that might be the signal for TSM to go in. They've got a 20 or 30 second window before that's available again. And the damage reduction from all the splashing, auto attacks are going to be happening. Is definitely going to help out. Orb Deception goes out. Charm lands on the Dyrus once again, but again, that's not really who they should be focusing. They're putting so much damage on Dyrus, and Corki's just poking away in the background. But at the moment, this poke battle, Azubu is definitely the ones that are coming out ahead. Dyrus Ignite is down, Transfusion is out, as well as the Tides of Blood. Ambition has used Spirit Rush to go forward. No kills just yet, but the Inhibitor has gone down. Chaos has gone down, but the Omen of Death has brought him back to life. Can the Ghost of Christmas Past come back to pick up any more kills? The Hemoplague is going to tick off on a special odd one. And Reginald, that's 2 members down, and Azubu are just going to turn their attention over to this Nexus Tower. 45 minutes in.
Wow.
What a game.
This game promised everything, and it surely has delivered. TSM nearly managed to fight their way back into this one, but Azubu Blaze are the first victors in game 1 of a 3-game series. Trevor, what the hell just happened? 16-16 in kills, but really it was all about that early aggression from Azubu that won it out there. The minions taking their bottom turret and inhibitor is really what turned their favor.
I literally do not fully understand how that played out. If Team Solomid had opted to defend their inhibitor, if they'd opted to defend their Nexus turret, they could have won the game. They were in a position where they were easily winning.
But they'd have lost Baron.
They would have lost Baron, but losing Baron when they were that far ahead in terms of teamfight composition and teamfight damage, it potentially wouldn't have cost them the game. It would have cost them, a little bit of control, etc. But wow, can you believe Chaos's Corki? 12-2-4 at the end of that, 357 CS. Godlike.
Absolutely godlike performance. Yeah, I mean, the stats just say it all, really. Hopefully we can get them up on the screen and see exactly what happened there. But wow, what a crazy, crazy match. The fact is, I thought TSM were going to turn it around because they came back into it. Their aggression suddenly started working. Reginald was starting to get the picks there, and Chaos was following it up, and they were getting the kills. Helios was getting taken down. Ambition was starting to really fall away from the team fights. Yeah. But as it was at the end there, they managed to just chip away on that inhibitor. And I think whether TSM needed to be more aggressive or needed to just simply back away from that inhibitor fight. I
completely agree with that. If they'd held onto more of their towers for longer, they would have won that game, for sure. But it is a game of nexuses, not kills, and not things. And super minions in this game proved to be a little more powerful than TSM gave them credit for.
Absolutely, and don't forget, this is just game 1 of a 3-game series. So we're going to have many more games to go. We're going to have a quick commercial break coming up shortly, and also a trailer for you guys. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the MLG Summer Arena here in New York. Sunny New York, I would say, but it's a little bit dark right now. It's beautiful night looking in the New York sky in the background there. And there is a Zubu Blaze, the OGN champions. They are 1-0 up against Team Solo Mid. And what a match it was.
It's impossible to even describe what happened. You literally need to rewatch it. Make sure
There's
you guys...
so many points.
Yeah, there's so many things.
I feel sorry for Dan.
Yeah, what was it? Dan Analytics Din, whatever was the official nickname was. But so many things happening. Azubu playing extremely aggressively, getting a 7-0 tower advantage by about the 25-minute mark, managing to get middle inhibitor down. Their super their tank minions managed to pick up the second inhibitor on the bottom lane. It was just amazing play after amazing play. TSM, for the last 10 minutes, looked to me like they were going to win, but unfortunately they just didn't have the towers to fall back to.
Yeah, they had the aggression, they had the fed chaos, but unfortunately, it is sometimes the problem. Once you get one player overly fed, there's no damage from anywhere else. So as soon as they got him down, and he did go down pretty early in that fight, this was where the big turning point. They'd poked it, and it was like, bam, Corky down, everyone went deep, went straight for it, went full on aggression, and unfortunately for TSM, it fell away from it. How are they going to counter that? That's the question. I mean, where do we start? Because it started off for a 2v2 top lane. TSM had the early invade, they got the blue, it started off great for them. They're down the bottom lane, it was looking good for Dyrus early on. The mid lane was fairly aggressive, and then Helios came in and joined, and he really ganked very well on that Maokai.
Yeah, so strong. So we're going to see how they're going to do in game number 2. We see that all 10 players are in the lobby and ready to go. So we're going to be jumping into the second match of 3. There are 2 more games of TSM and Azubu coming up. We will be playing all 3 games, and I cannot wait to see what happens. Cannot wait to see. TSM are going to have first ban, first pick. We've seen in the previous game, the ban's running through a little bit more what we expected. Alistair being removed, Rumble being removed, etc. I wonder if they're going to do the same, and I wonder how TSM are going to counter now. Are we going to see some more aggression out of TSM? Are we going to see a bit more tower dives from Azubu? Because the early game aggression from TSM didn't pay off. They would commit to a gank, they would commit to a fight, and there would be members of Azubu close by, or they'd be rotating just in time to catch the stragglers as they were trying to escape.
It was always TSM being the aggressor at the start. They were picking up the kills, and then straight away countered by Azubu, and it worked every time Ari was in there. Now TSM this time are going to be starting as the blue side, so the question is, will they try and leave something open that they can maybe pick up? Will they try and bait Azubu Blaze into banning something that they may want to get? I don't know. Or whether they're going to try and leave things open. So will they go for the Rumble maybe, for example, on the top lane? I would expect it to be banned. I would expect Urgot to be banned. I would expect Alistair to be banned. But who would you leave open? Would you leave Shen open and try and steal Shen?
Shen was available last game, if I recall correctly, was not selected.
Yes.
But Ari was. And,
and we saw Ari banned every game in the first
every single
series.
game, and such a phenomenal Ari play. Ari, did sort of fall off as the game went on. The longer the game went and the less damage she was able to put out onto members of TSM. But the opening 20-25 minutes, so aggressive, successful ganks, and that Spirit Rush just helping secure those stragglers. If she did not have, or if Ari wasn't able to get those 2 or 3 procs of Spirit Rush up, the kills may not have been as even as they were.
And the problem was, while they were keeping even with the fights, they were taking turrets. They took those first 3 turrets very early on. TSM, they performed that great 5-man gank down the bottom. They picked up the dragon off the back of it, but they lost 2 turrets. I mean, all the damage was done on the mid turret. They lost the top turret, and it was such a big turning point for them. But there we go. Alistair banned immediately by TSM, so that's the one that they obviously think maybe is too strong.
Yeah, want to get rid of him. Alistair at the moment is sort of the go-to jungler. We've seen Korean teams doing it. Yeah, we've seen Korean teams doing it. We've seen American teams doing it, and now the European teams are starting to pick up and starting to remove them from the pool. Malphite is out, Shen is out, Ari is still available, as is Rumble, and TSM have first ban, first pick, so it's up to Azubu to actually remove that.
I think they're going to force them to do it. They're going to force them into a choice of, do you go ban Urgot or Rumble?
So we'll see how this one plays out, and of course, Azubu are going to have the potential to have Graves stolen away as well. Whether or not Chaos wants to take Graves away and put Captain Jack onto another carry, maybe somebody he's not as strong with. Did fairly well in the previous game, but wasn't able to really carry Azubu.
Well, Chaos is a fantastic Graves player. Now Graves was picked the first pick by Captain Jack. So now they're going to have one more ban to go. What would they go with? Would it be Ari? Do they fear Ari? Will they go with Graves? I'm trying to think what they
10
went for.
seconds on the clock to see who they're going to remove.
Graves,
And
they have, yeah. So they're
Graves.
like, we're not letting you have it. That's how strong they feel Graves is, which means they're going to leave it to Chaos to say, okay, what are you going to use as your first pick? And it's Nocturne.
Well, that's an interesting one.
He was banned in the first game.
And Uri is available
So
as
the
well.
odd one is obviously feeling very strong on Nocturne right now.
It makes a lot of sense if they're going to play maybe another Twisted Fate as well. Maybe combo
Yes.
with the likes of
The
Ash.
The strong gank speed combo.
The, Enchanted Crystal Arrow or something like that. But it does look like Reaper's going to be able to get his Vladimir back. Played a very, very good Vladimir in the previous game. Opted to get that Zhonya's Hourglass, kept himself alive in those big team fights, and, could try to lay more damage
Got
down
the
on
early
TSM.
kill on Dyrus as well with the help of the jungler.
Yep.
So Helios says, Maokai is open again. Is he going to go for Maokai again? Because it worked very well for them in the early stages.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
true. He's going to
Skarner.
lock in Skarner. Now, this is interesting. I've seen Diamond Prox trying to play Skarner multiple times over the course of the last month, and it hasn't been very successful, at least in the European scene.
I don't know. I've seen games where the CLG EU, the Poland qualifiers, he played Skarner twice and absolutely stomped. Now, I know for a fact that Helios does play Skarner quite well. Quite well is maybe an understatement.
So Skarner, Impale, huge suppression, a lot of damage coming out.
Kennen.
And, we'll see how this one plays out. Kennen, is that going to be a mid lane Kennen or top lane Kennen?
I would say top lane. I would suggest it. And they're going to switch. So they're going to go for a bit more control with Morgana. Controlled farming. Is that going to be a mid lane Janna? That's the question. Or a top lane Janna or a support Janna. Could be anywhere. It's such a versatile champion
My
right
guess
now.
is that's probably going to be support Janna.
Oh, it's Janna
And
Ash, bottom lane.
I anticipate that there's going to be a Twisted Fate selection as well, because it was what we were saying right at the beginning. The Paranoia plus Twisted Fate, plus Destiny plus Enchanted Crystal Arrow equals GG. You can camp the bottom lane, you can camp the top lane. If you put a top laner in there with some CCs, so somebody like Riven, for example, put that key burst down, key burst, and you land that little stun, followed up with Paranoia, etc. It's a lot of damage that goes down.
The question is, can they stay in that lane phase long enough?
Yeah.
Because that was the problem in the first game. Azubu just effectively removed that lane phase so quickly and moved on to the mid phase. They'd started pushing them turrets down, and that's where Reginald could not get involved, and that's how he fell so far behind with Twisted Fate. So will they do it again? This time it's going to be Captain Jack on Corki with Soraka as the support.
Corki and Soraka is not a bad lane. I'm not a huge fan of it, and the only reason I say so, fair enough, Soraka can give Corki all the magic, all the mana that he needs, so he can keep spamming out those phosphorus bombs. But outside of allowing Corki to continue spamming, there's not a whole lot of additional synergy. Morgana is potentially going to be locked in here for Reginald, and I really like the combination. A Dark Binding into a Paranoia. There's such great ganking potential. But who is Ambition going to play in the middle lane? He's still got his AP middle to select, if we assume that Reaper's going to take Vladimir up into that top lane.
Well, TSM right now have got that strong pack, so they're going to stick together as a team, and they're just going to move in as one unit. Wow! That would surprise me if they switched to Cassiopeia. I would be very much surprised at that one. Yorick being locked straight in again, so we're going to see Ash being duped this time, and they have locked in Cassiopeia. That really surprised me, because so many AP champions right now, AP players should I say, think that Cassiopeia is pretty weak right now.
I agree. I've read a lot of things about it, and Ocelot in particular had a lot to say.
Yeah, considering he used to be the most known Cassiopeia player.
Exactly.
And completely fell out of love with it.
And just saying that her range is too short and her damage is no longer high enough to be considered a top pick. Going up against Vladimir in the middle, and it's probably going to be an Irelia versus Yorick in the top lane.
Vlad mid.
That's what I'm assuming. If a Cassiopeia does manage to get off a good petrifying gaze, she has enough burst with the Twin Fangs and with the Noxian Blast.
Throw all that poison
exactly.
on top.
Just keep throwing it over Twin Fang, Twin Fang, Twin Fang, and deal enough damage to actually burst through a frozen Vladimir. But we'll have to see how this one plays out. Before we do go into game number 2, we do need to jump to a very quick advert break. And when we are back, Team Solar Mid take on Azubu Blaze in game number 2. and gentlemen, you are here with the MLG Summer Arena. We're in the second match of the day, in the second game of our set of 3. And we've already seen Azubu winning in a 45-minute epic against Team Solo Mid. We're going into game number 2. We've got some slightly unconventional picks. We know that Helios likes his Skarner, plays it fairly often over on the Korean servers, but we don't see him too often in Europe. And we see a Cassiopeia being played by Reginald, champion that sort of fell out of favor. So I'm a bit excited to see this one as well.
I'm very excited to see with this one. You can see the boots and pots being picked up. So immediately, X Special has not gone for the boots, so he's going to be building up the GP10 stack earlier on, as is Soraka. Soraka actually, wow, is that 2? That's 2 pink wards. 2 pink wards, 3 normal wards, and just a single heal pot. So he hasn't gone any GP10 stuff, hasn't gone for the mana, it's just purely gone for wardage. So I expect an aggressive Azubu here, and it seems to be what we're seeing. We're seeing TSM aggressive as well. Helios just got spotted, they know he's in that bush. There they go, the poison goes down to Helios, and immediately Yorick also putting down his ghoul. Didn't see which one he's gone with, but again, that's going to be TSM being aggressive. Now I think that's actually going to counter each other, and they will probably both back away from this fight.
And one of the ghouls' names that Zenon always calls them, was it angry, smelly, and stinky? Something along those. I always try my best to remember.
Omen of Pestilence, isn't it? The slow.
That's it. Omen of Pestilence is the W. I'll try my best to remember the names. I've actually got an Android app on my phone with all the names and some of
them. Do you read them while you're on the subway?
I was reading it on the plane.
Yeah,
on the plane, yeah, 8 hours. I was doing my research, making
all the passives as well.
Doing the best. Oh, my passives I suck with passives.
That's about 500 different things you need to remember.
I'm trying.
At the drop of a hat in a split second. There is quite a lot to learn right there.
But we see a fairly defensive start, considering how game number 1 went, with both teams setting up for an invade or setting up for an engagement. It sadly didn't happen, but they did try, and Azubu came off fairly lucky.
Nocturne's going to go to red here, you know. I think it's either the Golems or the red he's going to go to. You can see he's sat there with Dyrus in that top tri-bush, and he's definitely thinking of going for something. There's no way that the jungler would be in that position unless he wants to take something. Chaos now, they have that ward in the blue bush. Oh, beautiful. He's going to walk into it and gets the 100% crit down, and the spray on towards Captain Jack. Captain Jack thinking of walking back there. Special's going to back away from this one. Now they're going to go out towards Reaper. Reaper's going to get caught out by Odd One here. He's had to use the Ghost of. They will back away from that one. The Omen of Pestilence is on them, and now TSM starting to go for this blue buff. Howling Gale comes across, does manage to catch him out there. Helios is sticking in there. He's taking a lot of damage, does manage to smite it down though, and now you can see the Odd One. He knows that everybody's over that side. Force that fight for the blue, which means he's going to steal away the red. Nice play.
Really, really good coordination and great communication between the teams. You know, counting the champions, knowing where they are. You know, Chaos and Xpecial would have been sitting there going, look, we know where they are, we know what they're doing, so go, 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 push, push, push. You've got time to do X, Y, and Z. And of course, in the bottom of your screen, you can see TSM on the left-hand side, and of course, Azubu on the right-hand side. And they're wearing the hue of their team, because of course it is the blue and the red team in game. They've even got the lighting to back them up with the backdrop of New York City behind them. We do have a brief pause right now, just as it appears there's a small problem over at TSM.
Looks like it's Reginald as well. I mean, it's TSM that called the pause this time. It was I believe Reaper in the last one. Helios, sorry, in the last one.
Helios, yeah, dropped out and had to reconnect.
And as it is at this stage, let's look at the map. So we've got the red buff being stolen away by the Odd One. Is he going to use Smite? I expect he will, because he's having to solo it. Yeah, he's already used Smite. You can see it, I see it's actually on the cooldown already. Meanwhile, Skarner's in the opposite jungle, taking away the Wraiths. So he's straight in there, possibly could go for a gank early on onto Reginald. Reginald is in that mid. He's got that problem at the moment. Can't really tell what it is or what it was. But let's look at the supports. I talked about this at the start. Double pink ward picked up by Soraka.
He is definitely running the additional gold runes. 632 gold in the bank. It's actually, in fact, mirrored by Janna, so not running for the additional, just opting to go purely for vision. And you know what? It's Azubu. They're going to be pushing, they're going to be shoving the lane, and they're going to be trying to get into a position where they can put damage onto the tower. So for their playstyle, for their champions, it makes sense. It is a little bit scary when you consider that, you know, Nocturne's going to be able to come in potentially from the side or from behind, get that fear proc off and hold them in position. So as long as they pay attention to the minimap and make sure that those wards are up when they need to be up, it's going to pay off. But, you know, it is a bit scary. Crystal Arrow and Paranoia, it's two very, very strong ganking tools once they hit level 6.
Yeah, right now Azubu, they are looking very confident there. They're really relaxed. They're 1-0 up in this series. You know, this is the big game. This is representing Korea, the whole of Asia really effectively. And they want to pick up a win here. And, you know, one more win would be surely secure them a place in the finals. You know, we have got Curse Gaming, which they say is technically 1v1 the stronger team, which is big words.
Yep, that is huge. Coming from the OGN champions, you know, coming from the team that is, they've traveled to American soil. I believe this is the first time Azubu Blaze has competed in an event outside of Korea.
It's the first time the Korean teams come anywhere, left Korea basically.
So, you know, they're now taking place on you know, American shores, eating American food, American lifestyle, etc. They were saying, or the manager of Azubu was saying a little bit earlier today that, you know, Fnatic and CLG were saying X, Y, and Z as to why they had lost, and using excuses in terms of how Azubu was putting it. But now they want to win. They're here to prove something to all of the Western teams, to American teams, to European teams, and building up towards Season 2 championships and Season 2 finals. It's very, very exciting.
It's very exciting indeed. We've just seen a 45-minute epic game. If you've just joined us, you missed some fantastic matches, but don't worry, you'll be able to catch the VODs. And feel free to go out and get that HD pass as well. We see us in glorious 1080p. I'm not sure if you want to see us in 1080p, but you definitely want to see the game in 1080p. And of course, you get that account with the ELO buff account as well in there. Free month on that. You can check out the stats. There's some crazy stats you can see on there. Kill death ratios going back as long as your arm. Really.
Player streams as well. Listen into the voice chat. All sorts of added extras, so go check it out, guys. Take a look at that. We do have a reconnect now from Reginald, so I believe that hopefully we should be up and running soon. The players do appear to be saying go, so the resume button has been hit. We're going to jump straight back into the game, and we see that Helios is going to be using those crystal slashes. He actually come in to steal the rates and then decided against it. Now coming up behind Reginald, he is going to get slowed. That's one auto attack. Second auto attack, they're going to flash over the wall. That Q is coming out from Helios. He's going to keep Reginald almost perma-slowed, and that is the power of Skarner. First blood being picked up to Azubu Blaze. Reginald's not going to be happy about that.
He's going to be raging about that. He's just literally rejoined the game and taken straight down. It's what we talked about. We said Skarner was in that position, and you know, saying he could easily come around the back of him. And again, we are seeing first blood in the mid on Reginald.
Yeah, exactly. This time round, it was not from a counter gank. It was actually from very, very great play from Helios. They're knowing, hey, Reginald is out of position. Reginald is pushed forward. So let's go and take advantage of that. And of course, Skarner with blue buff, the cooldown reduction on that crystal slash, it is very powerful in terms of slow.
And Helios with that blue buff now, where is he going to go? He knows that the odd one is in that bush. He's going to come straight in. The odd ones have to back straight out there. They're going to try and go for it. I don't think either of them got smite available. Yes, he does. Actually, Helios has smite, which is why the odd one has to back out of this fight, surely. The Dyrus has come around to support him and wisely forced him away, which means the odd one, who has to pick up this blue buff, is going to get it down. Could have done with a little bit more help there. And the odd one did smite it down. He'd already used smite, so smite literally must have just come back available. I was not looking at the timing, because obviously he'd already stolen away the red.
Yeah, exactly. Use the red, steal the red with the compliments of the distraction from Chaotic Special earlier on in the game. It's a small advantage to Azubu right now, 800 gold. Skarner was the one that picked up that kill, so, you know, it's going to make life a little bit more not difficult, but, you know, if Vladimir had managed to pick up that first blood, get an early Hex Deck, or finish the item a bit quicker, it makes Vladimir's lower level so much simpler, especially against Cassiopeia, who's so strong. Take a look at that Noxian Blast, Twin Fang, that's 3 Twin Fangs, 2 Noxian Blasts, and Ambition is down to near death. And it's going to be very difficult for him until he manages to complete that Hex Tech, or until he manages to get the Sorcerer's Shoes and actually avoid those Noxian Blasts.
Unfortunately for Reginald, though, he has to burn a lot of mana to do that. Captain Jack, well, I thought he was going to walk straight into that bush there, and there's one of the pink wards placed, and that's why they've gone for it. So immediately you see Soraka, he's placed that pink ward, cleared it out, Special's getting ready. I think he's going to... He hasn't got any pink wards in his bag. He did have one earlier on. Owling Gale's going to catch on towards Captain Sparrow. They realised he's away and just Valkyried away at the right time to get away from that one. Meanwhile, the odd one is doing a pretty good job in that jungle, but he's just got the CS behind. He's going to pick up those raids. And don't forget, he picked up the red, so he's already got the red and blue buff. Helios now coming across. Is he going to go towards those raids? In which case, he's going to face check straight towards the odd one. Reginald is ready and waiting there. He is going to come around. The target actually went down. They know the position. Now they surely realise that the red buff bot lane is going to be the target. Xpecial taking out very low. Xpecial's going to have to back away from this one. Can they come round and maybe put the pressure on that red buff? Are they going to go for it? There's the Hawk shot that went across. Helios has surely got to realise the position he was in. The red buff is going to be available instead. They're going to back off and they're going to play it safe.
Well, Helios has had that first blood. 18 CS as well, has not spent a cent. So he has now just recalled. We've seen on top lane, cloth armor as well as that Dawn's Blade being picked up. And Skarner opting to go for the Philosopher's Stone. It is sort of the I hate to use this word because I don't see enough Skarner, but the standard build in terms of Skarner, you know, having to donate or move over that blue buff. In actual fact, taking a look at it, the fact that you've got Vladimir in the middle, Ambition playing Vlad, who doesn't need the blue buff, means Skarner's going to be able to pick up the second blue buff once it's available in the next 60 to 70 seconds.
Yeah, you want to be stacking it on Helios. That was one of the main things Diamond Prox has said about Skarner, is the fact that you do need that blue buff. You kind of, it's one of those problems, so if you do it, you're going to have a Kennen or a Vlad in mid, or some AP champion that does not need the mana so much. Reginald, meanwhile, will need that blue buff. He didn't pick it up on the first time around, and it won't be available till around about, I think about 10-11 minutes. Because it wasn't that long ago that Odd One picked it up, because obviously they went for that red buff early on, which is going to harass, cause problems, for Reginald, who's just gone back, got himself a double door in his ring, so Odd One is just going to clear out the wave there, get a bit of a lane tax as he goes back, make sure he picks up all that CS. Meanwhile, up the top there, Reaper versus Dyrus. This is a very much a tanky fight, but look at the burst on Dyrus there straight away. And Reaper starting to cause problems on Aurelia. Aurelia is such a strong champion, you know. So many times, although Wicked still tries to claim, he actually needs buffing right now. Yeah,
that is the claim. But of course, when that hidden style is active, Skarner's able to burst through absolutely everything. This is what we know Azubu plays for, the low-level tower dives. Here comes the Equilibrium Strike. It actually looks like the Omen of Death came out. Used his ultimate on himself, managed to scare Aurelia away. We actually see Reaper opting to use those Transcendent Blaze before the creep wave come up. Ambition's now joined the party. A Hemo Plague goes out, Transfusion, Tides of Blood followed up by the Sanguine Pool. And once the proc actually goes off, before the Hemo Plague damage can tick off, I think one more Crystal Slash closes it out. And Helios 2-0 with the Skarner.
Indeed, very nicely played there. And the other one now are going immediately to invade. They realise that that top is done there. They did, of course, get in there, and that's going to be Reginald picking it up. So I did talk about the fact that blue wouldn't be available for them. It doesn't matter. Now they're going to go for the ganks. They're going to try and push his bottom through. The minion wave are up there. They're going to have a 4-man dive on towards Captain Jack. Surely he is the target. He is going to be able to get away from this one. There's the ultimate available from Reginald. He needs to use it at the exact right time. There it is. Didn't really stun. Captain Jack uses the cleanse there. He's going to try and turn that aggression on towards the Odd One. The Odd One now is going to get dived on. Captain Jack gets in there. Helios picks up the kill. Special very low as well. It's turned horribly wrong for Team Solo Mid. And Azubu Blaze are really picking up and punishing this one. Kex is going to go down to the Ignite. Ambition will finally drop to Reginald, but Reginald is now going to pay the punish this one. And that from a 3-on-4 situation, a horrible dive, has gone 4-2 in favour of Azubu Blaze. What a great fight.
Really nicely done. Once again, that aggression from Team Solo Mid not paying off. Dyrus actually walks all the way up to Reaper. He effectively bumps him on the nose, then walks away. We see the Blade Surge coming out. Equilibrium Strike lands on Dyrus. Dyrus cannot take the sustained damage from that hidden style Aurelia. Once that W gets hit from Reaper, he's just going to be getting all that additional life back and landing all of that true damage. 4 points into the ability already, nearing max. And Azubu 6-2 up. This happened in game number 1 as well. TSM were the aggressors. TSM were the ones trying to make the plays. But it just seemed that Azubu were able to respond in a slightly more beneficial way, or managed to, you know, pull back from the disadvantage.
Yeah, so which way did that blue buff actually go? I didn't catch where it went in the end. It went to Corky, Captain Jack, which is actually going to help him out. So that ulti now available to him, he's really going to be pumping it out.
And Skarner managed to get the red buff as well. So he picked up the kill onto the Odd One, steal away that red buff. Here we go, you can see it actually sitting on him. So that's at about half, and you can see his red buff has just spawned as well. So we may try to see a gank out of him or something similar. Impale is available. Maybe going to wait for Aurelia to get close. Let's actually see. There goes that Crystalline Exoskeleton, trying to close the gap. 3 points into his Crystal Slash, and the 2 points, of course, that shield is going to block some damage, but it's most important for the movement speed buff that it gives you. And activate that W, grab somebody with Impel, and run back into your team. Scuttle them like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat.
That's definitely one way of putting it. And there is Captain Jack pumping out them ultimates. The Rockets, of course, they do stack up. With that cooldown, they're just going to be coming up faster and faster. Reaper's going to be picking up the red buff this time, or is he just going to start that off for Skarner? Skarner, of course, who actually got the red buff on at the moment, so there's no reason why Reaper does not take this one away. Meanwhile, down that bottom lane, you can see Nocturne getting ready to try and go for a gank here, and the Old One really needs to try and turn things in the favour of Team Solo Mid, because it has just gone backwards for them. Every time they try and make a play, Azubu there ready and waiting. There's the Crystalline Arrow straight towards Captain Jack. Howling Gale comes across. Nocturne ulti coming across as well. The Valkyrie goes away. The Fear Proc surely will go. He hasn't got cleanse available this time around, so he should get caught down. Captain Jack goes down. Can they turn around towards Lustboy? They're going to have to back away. They can't take the damage because a teleported Reaper's coming in, and he's going to turn that damage on towards Chaos. Chaos getting burnt down heavily. Chaos goes down, and again, Azubu turning the gank from Team Solo Mid against them, and they are going to dive on towards the turret. They go for both. They don't care. They want all the kills. X Special goes down. Wow! Azubu just turning things around in their favor every time TSM get aggressive. How do they deal with this? It's 9-3 Azubu.
Huge play. We've seen it from Curse. They were using the teleport from the top lane into the bottom lane, using a teleport Janna to pick up kills. A teleporter really is not somebody you see hugely often, but so effective. That ghost and that teleport blown, but they managed to pick up 2 kills. They may even be able to pick up that tower on the bottom lane. Dyrus trying to pick the tower up on the top lane, but Helios uses the impale. Feel my sting, takes 1-2 more tower hits from Dyrus. 3rd tower hit in the background. Crystal Slash is going away, continually slowing him. There goes another Crystal Slash. The Exoskeleton's going to be back up for Helios in just a moment. There goes the Flash, following it up yet again. Dyrus is tanking all day long. He is still alive. Stinky and hungry, managing to pick it up.
Beautiful.
Dyrus actually turns it around. Ambition comes out of nowhere, running up from the background. Somehow Reaper picks up a kill, and he manages to go down as well. Ash gets the bonus from that, so 2 kills back for TSM. But Azubu making the big plays, Azubu going huge.
Azubu going huge. Reginald's had to go to that top lane, try and cover it off. They cannot lose too many turrets here. Chaos did manage to pick up the kill despite dying down there, so a little bit too aggressive from Azubu that both went down to turret kills effectively. You know, so maybe getting a little bit overconfident, a little bit too aggressive in there. 10-5 though currently to Azubu players, turning that confidence, that aggression in the faces of TSM every time they've tried to make a big play. And there he goes, Captain Jack, really getting in the face of Dyrus again there and forcing on towards that turret. That turret taken down very low, quite happy to take a hit or two and just continue that, force that damage. Meanwhile at the top lane, you can see Reginald forcing Ambition back a little bit there, and well, Reginald again needs to get involved in this one. He has picked up those 2 kills early on. He has got that double Dorans and that boots, and actually he could buy a big item here. He's got 1400 gold. What's he going to go with? And really, can they keep hold of those turrets? Because this is where Azubu would turn their favor. You know, once they got that 1 turret down, they started stacking them down. That mid turret is already very low.
Very true, but by 13 minutes in game number 1, I think Azubu had 3 to 4 towers already. So TSM, they're handling the pressure a little better, but I also don't think Azubu are pushing quite as hard.
Aurelius diving around the backside of Kirk down the bottom here. He has got the odd one with him though this time. Can they get the Fear Proc off? Surely they need to turn this. Oh, just dashed beautifully away from that crystalline arrow. And now Helios comes down. He's going to try and grab on towards the odd one. Should surely get the ulti on. Yes, he will do. They're going to turn the aggression on. Chaos is still sticking around here. Now we have Reginald coming in as well. It's going to be a full-on 4v3 fight. They're going to turn on towards Lustboy. Lustboy will go down inevitably to the Reginald this time around. Can they get on towards Reaper? Reaper manages to get the kill on Reginald. Reaper will go down as well. That's going to be the double kill for Reginald, but Corky comes back in. Captain Jack trying to pick up kills. Reginald's ultimate there with the triple kill actually, because he had the Yorick ultimate on him. Chaos now going to get saved there. Use the heal. Very nicely done there. On towards Ambition. Can they turn this into a kill? He's going to turn and get away. Chaos is just about staying at range. Captain Jack tries to get back involved and saves the day. Some massive plays from many players. It's 12-8. And this aggression from both teams is amazing to watch.
I'm thinking 2 things right now. Number 1, this game is phenomenal. The aggression, the back and forth, every single ability is being blown in every single fight. Helios managed to land that impale after the odd one flashed. So he casted it, activated it, odd one flashed away and then got pulled back from outside the max range. It's so annoying when that happens, and I feel very sad for Dan Analytics Den right now, because on that big screen once this game is over, there is so much to look into and so much to try to make sense of. How do you possibly break every single ability down when both sides are throwing everything into it?
They're throwing it all at it, and you can't. This match is living up to the expectation. Azubu going to pick up the first dragon of the game. Captain Jack just coming down to help out Valkyrie in there to help pick that kill, and there it is. First dragon of the game at 15 minutes down. And now can they dive on towards Reginald? Will they turn this aggression around? Skarner was there. Helios was ready. Helios has been absolutely outstanding for me so far.
Yeah, phenomenal play. Game number 1 when he was using Maokai, almost every single time he appeared in a lane, somebody died. And this no exception with Skarner either. I had my doubts in Skarner. I have not seen too many games being played at Skarn, and especially not at LANs as well. It's not something you see, it's not a champion that you see very often, you know, EUS servers, etc. So I love what I'm seeing. 3-2-2. Opting to go for this GP10s, and I was actually thinking about it earlier before all of those fights happened, but if Helios had opted to go for maybe like a Wriggles Lantern or something with a bit more damage, we do see him going forward. Crystalline Exoskeleton does manage to land the Impale. They're going to focus on Darius as best as he can. Omen of Death comes out. He's going to, you know, manage to survive for a little bit longer. Spell Shield comes up from the Odd One. Crystal Arrow once again missing. It was a little bit of an optimistic one.
Well.
Going to try and catching up as best as they can. Reaper is going to go down in the river. Compliments of the Janna Cassiopeia comboing up in the top lane. All the damage that Darius and the ghost of Darius, you can see the corpse there in the grass, was able to actually pick up that kill onto Reaper. So 2-for-1 exchange in favor of TSM. They're still 3,000 gold behind. 16 minutes in, 26 kills on the board. More than a kill a minute.
I feel sorry for Tom right now because there's kills happening all around the map. So apologies if we do miss any of those, but we will be able to check them out later on in the North replay. Kaox, meanwhile, is just farming away down this bottom. He's got Lustboy sat there. He's 6-3-0 Reginald. That's the big difference in this game. He's really getting involved. He's picking up those kills. He's going to be turning, possibly, I think it's the Will of the Ancients he's going for. Yes, it is. He's got the blasting one to go there. Is it really going to benefit anyone else? Maybe not really.
There's the possibility of it becoming,
actually help.
There's a possibility of it becoming Rylai's Crystal Scepter.
Okay, yeah, that's possible.
You know, recently, in the last sort of 2 or 3 months, when Cassiopeia was being played, the general build in Cassiopeia is double Doran's Hextech Revolver into Rylai's, and then finishing Will of the Ancients. It's sort of what we see out of a lot of Cassiopeia's players, high elo in the solo queue, and I think that's what's going to happen. And when you consider there's no hard CC outside of the Crystal Arrow, you know, fair enough, you've got the Crystal Arrow and you've got the Fear Proc, but, you know, that's a little bit unreliable at best. You need that slow, and the amount of AoE poison magic damage that comes up from Cassiopeia, Miasma plus Noxian Blast, that's team AoE slow. It's guaranteed to come up, you know, you can rely on that slow.
So as it stands, 13-10, Azuba Blaze with the lead, 2 turrets advantage as well. They are 1-0 up, as you can see on the screen, after a 45-minute intense action game. And honestly, this game is really living up to the hype so far. Sometimes you've got to be a little bit worried. Sometimes he falls flat, but Kaox is getting dived on. Captain Jack with a quick burst damage straight around to Kaox there. Can he land one more ulti? The big bomb, the minion just got in the way of that one.
He's just caught the skin of his teeth. Managed to tank that one for Kaox quite luckily.
Oh, the other one's going to walk straight into Helios, and Helios actually backed out of that one.
Look at Helios' items. He's got a Shirelia's Reverie and a Heart of Gold. He's not going to be able to go toe-to-toe with a Wriggles Lantern Nocturne, who's going to be able to get that Fear Proc off. Fair enough, Impale's going to hold him in place for a little while, but Duskbringer plus the armor, the lifesteal, Skarner has no inherent lifesteal, so he's going to rely on that shield. He cannot duel a Nocturne right now.
Darius can't duel Reaper, it seems. He's taken half his health off down on this top lane. He's going to have the wave pushing. Here comes Vladion. Ambitious is trying to get in position. He's going to come around the backside. He's got Janna up there now. They're diving on towards Irelia. If he can go up towards the top lane, you can see Irelia actually getting dived on. There we go. Special's joining him. He gets the Zephyr down, slows him down. Ambition actually had to change route. He thought about coming around the backside of that turret. Meanwhile, they're trying to position themselves in that mid lane. Looks like Skarner's trying his best to catch on toward Reginald. He does catch on to him, and the Odd One immediately joins that fight. Captain Jack taken down very low. Just has to cleanse off the flash there. Gets taken down. The arrow flashing by. Teleport in from Darius. Meanwhile, Darius is diving on towards the top there. If we just pan a little bit to the top. Oh my god, there's stuff going all over the map. What is happening? Kaox now joining there. Lustboy taking down very low. Lustboy goes down. The Odd One's going to drop as well. As Zubu turn a tragic situation into a great situation, into a bad situation, into a great situation. It's just so back and forward. I don't know where to look. And nor does Tom. And Kaox is trying to keep this down. Now Ambition, oh, he's just going to get away from that one. And Kaox manages to save the turret. This is a mental game.
And that is huge for TSM. They saved the turret. That is what cost them the previous game. If you look at these lineups, if you look at this roster, Cassiopeia, Ashe, and Yorick